Chapter 14. Wilkes sat next to Billy in the mess hall as they picked at the reconstituted eggs and hard biscuits of the microwaved ship meal packet. Billy had eaten worse, but not recently. "You okay, kid?" She nodded. "Yeah, a few aches and stiffness, but otherwise all right." Wilkes ate a bite of his own 2 yellow scrambled eggs. As he did, Billy glanced around the room. First squad sat bunched in 2s or 3s at tables nearby. There were 8 of them, and Billy had made a point of matching the names and faces within a few hours of awakening. 5 men and 3 women. The women were Blake, Jones, and Mobutu. The men were Easley, Ramirez, Smith, Chin, and the tall blonde one, Bueller. There were 3 other squads of Colonial Marines, 32 troopers in all, plus a skeleton ship's crew of 9. Counting herself, Wilkes, and the officer in charge, Stevens, that meant a total of 44 people, going to challenge an entire planet of the aliens. There had been 5 times that many people on Rim, and only a single nest of the things there, and she and Wilkes had been the only survivors. Not very encouraging. She couldn't say how long she'd been sat there, blanked out, remembering, but Wilkes pulled her back to the present. "I'm going to go shower," he said. "You going to be okay here?" "Yes, I'm fine." After Wilkes left, Billy sat and stared at her cold food. The mess hall was not a large room. The other conversations were audible from time to time. "Man, Stevens has a bug up his nose, eh?" Easley said. "He's a ground pounder. What do you expect?" Chin said. "Me? I think our sergeant is more than a little bit off the beam," Ramirez put in. "A few minutes short of an hour, if you know what I mean." Blake pulled out a deck of cards. "Anybody for a little poker? Chin? Easley? Bueller?" "Not me," Easley said. "I got walk-through duty. Keep a seat warm for me, though. Back in an hour." He stood and moved towards the door. There was a headset with throat pickup mic set into a recess there, and Easley took the comm unit and slipped it on, nestling the earpiece into his left ear. "Watch Bueller. He deals from the bottom." "Your ass, Needle Dick," Bueller said. "Big enough so your mother loves it," Easley said. He laughed and left. Billy stared at her food. These guys did not know what they were up against, no matter what Wilkes had told them. It was one thing to hear somebody tell it, another to face the things, to feel them. Not something Billy wanted to do again, even though she knew she had to do it. Amazing how the memories came back. She felt as if she were a kid again. A scared kid. Easley strolled down the corridor, the fork's gravity making it feel almost like a walk through a building on Earth, maybe a bit lighter. He passed the first check station, flashed his loom into a couple of recesses the overheads didn't show, then spoke into the comm, directly to the computer's recorder. "This is Easley, TJ, on walkthrough duty, 12:30 hours." He rattled off his serial number, the ship coordinates, and his findings. "Inspection so far reveals patent hull, no stress cracks, no animal or insect manifestations. Yeah, and no runs, no hits, no errors." This sucked, having to walk inspection. What did they make robots for? The things could see better, move faster, and they didn't care if they were missing a good poker game while they did it either. This was make work. Stevens was a by-the-tape commander, and next thing you knew, he'd have them shining their boots and practicing close-order drill. Stupid. Easley moved along, shining his light into the dark spots along the corridor, finding what he had expected to find. Nothing. As he reached the aft quarter of his intended loop, he heard something. A faint, voice-like sound. He stopped. Sounded like it was coming from the number 4 cargo hold. Easley hesitated. All walkthrough was supposed to do was check the hull sandwich, not go poking into closed compartments. Whatever it wasn't his business. The sound came again, almost like somebody talking, very quietly. Could be some kind of transfer echo, Easley thought. That happened sometimes. An air conditioning vent picked up a voice on one part of the ship and transferred it somewhere else. The dense plastics and metals used on a no-frills military vessel did some strange things with vibrations. Easily remembered once being able to hear guys singing in the shower halfway around a T2 troop ship. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Besides, he was only supposed to do the hull. That was the drill, nothing else. He started to walk on. There it was again. Well, what the hell? He was curious. Might as well check it out. It wasn't like he had an appointment anywhere or anything. He moved to the sliding door to the cargo area, thumbed open the pad. Benedict to K014, telemetry data uploading. Somebody was talking, no doubt about that, easily heard. He moved through the cargo area, rounded one of the stack boxes. Well, would you look at this? It wasn't an echo transfer. There the guy was, right in front of him. He had his back turned, Easley couldn't ID him. "Hey," Easley began. "What are you up to?" That was as far as he got. The figure spun, and then Easley felt a tremendous pain lance his throat, as if somebody had stabbed him there. Easley sucked air, felt it impeded, reached for his neck. Felt his hands touch something wet and hot, extending from his throat, as big around as his thumb, all the way through. He tried to yell, found his voice wouldn't work. All he could manage was a wordless groan. The sound turned to a gurgle as warm liquid ran down his damaged windpipe. He recognized the man who had done it, but he couldn't say the name. Something slammed into his solar plexus, and what air Easley had was stolen. He couldn't breathe. He bent forward, pulling at the spike through his neck. It started to move, despite the slippery fluid coating it. Then something smashed his head, and it all went grey. On the Benedict's bridge, the tech monitoring ship's systems cursed. The pilot, busy feeding corrected stellar coordinates into his console, glanced over. "What?" "I show the aft number 2 interior lock open." The pilot glanced at his own board. "Yeah, I see it." The tech said, "Is there a drill scheduled?" "Nobody told me." "That's a negative. Nothing on the board." "Call the lock and find out what the hell's going on." "Copy." The tech spoke into his throat mic. "This is systems control. Who opened the inner door there?" The tech waited. Nobody responded. "I say again, this is systems control. Respond whoever's in lock A2. Nothing. "Where is the camera?" the pilot asked. The tech's hands danced over the controls. "I'm not getting a signal from the monitor in the lock." "Damn it! Call the Jarhead commander and find out what's going on." "Colonel Stevens, this is systems control. Do you read?" The pilot looked at his own board. "Buddha, where the hell is he?" "Maybe he's taking a shower. Got his unit off," the tech said. "Hello?" "What?" "The hatch, it is cycling closed." "Well, that's something. Stupid Marines ought not to be playing with the hardware." "Uh-oh." The pilot looked at his board, saw the source of the tech's new worry. The outer hatch was cycling open. "I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to put a stop to it right now," the pilot said. "We've got a corrective burn coming up, and I sure as hell don't want a hole in the barn wall when it happens. I'm going to override and close that sucker." "Affirmative that," the tech said. The pilot worked the control. "Uh-oh," the tech said. Both their screens showed that the hatch cover was still open. "Somebody is going to be in real deep shit," the pilot said. "Got an EVA," the tech said. "Hull pickup is still working." The tech switched on the exterior lamps. "Look." The image of a space-suited figure tumbled slowly into their field of view, brightly lit by the outside floods. "Who the hell is that, and what is he doing out there?" Easley awoke. What? His throat. He reached for it, found the ribbing of the suit with the gauntlet. He was in VAC 0G, in a suit. Fluid from his wound floated up and clouded the suit's visor. Frantically, Easley tried to speak, to call for help. He couldn't make words. He twisted his head, trying to see where he was. There was the ship, but it was moving away. He reached for his tool belt, looking for a squirt can to push himself back to safety. The tool belt was empty. Panic gripped him in cold fingers. He coughed, choking from the wound in his throat. He was going to die. No, wait, they'd spot him. You couldn't go EVA without the proximity detector seeing you. The lights were on, they knew he was here. They'd send somebody out for him. It would only be a couple of minutes at the most. He'd be okay. They could patch him up. Something drifted in front of his face. At first, his obscured vision wouldn't let him see just what it was. He pulled his head back as far as it would go, blinked several times. A small cylinder, about the size of a roll of quarter-credit coins, floated up against the plate. He slowly turned, and the ship's lights angled across his faceplate, giving him a better view. The cylinder had a digital counter on it. The coldness stabbed Easley all the way to his bones. The cylinder was an AP grenade, and the flashing numbers on it were going down. 5, 4, 3... No! Finally, he managed a word. It didn't help. He was going to... The hull pickups polarized as the blast of light washed over them, and the space-suited figure shattered soundlessly into fragments. Body fluids crystallized almost instantly in the cold vacuum, spraying into frozen, colorless, gauzy clouds against pinpoints of distant stars in the blackness. Pieces of suit and flesh tumbled away. Some hit the ship's armor harmlessly. On the bridge, the tech said, "Oh man." The pilot merely nodded. What a way to die. He wondered if the guy knew what hit him. He hoped not.